How's the week going, Retro people? My name is Brad, this is Retro Style Spotlight, and this is your news, notes, history, and retro games to play for the week of June 6th, 2017. In ROM hacking and translation news, Super Mario World was ported from the SNES to NES in 1995 by Hummer Team and remains an oddity for unlicensed games. Well, now, the Jabu has improved this unlicensed game to bring it even more in line with the SNES counterpart. Gameplay and physics have been upgraded, and this looks to be an interesting upgrade to an unusual licensed game. Many original elements are here, like Yoshi, cape power-ups, and the map screen. Keep in mind, it is still much more limited compared to World on the SNES, but it's a fun oddity nonetheless. Check it out below. Time for some spectacular emulation news, and this week we're taking a look at Melon DS again. This time around, Melon DS is now up to version 0.03 and is progressing nicely. The changelog is posted below in the description, so if you are curious at its progression, then it's down there in that thread. Remember though, Melon DS isn't ready for primetime daily use, but DS emulation competition is nice. With Melon DS and Medusa on the market, users are now getting more and more choices and pushing each other to make good emulators. So let's all head over to that thread, let the developer know that they're doing a fantastic job and to keep it up. Colossal Cave Adventure is considered to be the very first text adventure game, and the game has now gone open source for the entire gaming world. Released in 1976, using one of the earliest forms of coding language, it was available on ARPANET, which is the big brother to the internet as we know it nowadays. Eric S. Raymond, a longtime champion of open source, has released the code to GitLab, a place where developers can collaborate, and they apparently have the permission of the original game designers. Colossal Cave Adventure was created by Will Crowther, I'm sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing your last name, but he was helping the US government create ARPANET at the time. Back in the 70s, Colossal Cave Adventure ran on computers that filled giant rooms and would now be considered trivial for our phones to operate. The game has been ported several times to various platforms, but the game now being open source means that any developer or coder can help doctor this game into the 21st century and make sure this historical text adventure is preserved for all time. Figurines based on video game characters has come back in a big way in the last several years, and one company is creating extremely boutique versions of your favorite characters. The company, First 4 Figures, has created a Sonic figurine that is stunningly beautiful for Sonic's 25th anniversary this year. There was a live stream going on about the figurine, and pre-orders will launch an hour after that stream. Sadly, the stream happened about 3 hours ago from the time that this video uploads. The stream was set to go live at 7 AM PST, and I release RSS at around 10 AM PST on Tuesdays, the same day of this stream. The pre-orders should now be live, however, and you could pre-order this beauty for around $385. There will be a regular and special version of this figurine, with the later being more detailed with Sonic dashing past a replica of the end level plate. So if you are interested, check out the figure below. In more Super Mario World news, World has been blown wide open and you can now install a hex editor and mod loader into a physical cartridge on a real SNES. So last year sometime I talked about Seth Bling showing the world that code injection was possible for a human with pixel perfect timing and precision. Things have gone nutty for him and his group, as they do have a full hex editor loaded, and they can even load up Super Mario World gameplay mods. This exploit builds off the original exploit discovered by Cooper Harrison, and it lets users write data directly to the game's 256-byte save file located inside of the cartridge. If you arrange the game's data in just the right sequence, you can trick it into loading the exploit just by loading a save file. With the exploit running, Harrison and Seth worked on creating the hex editor on screen, and that was loaded from a save file. You can do lots of funky things with this trick, like beating a level in a button press, changing the color palette, or giving Mario odd powers like telekinesis. They can even mod the game to use the SNES mouse as a controller too. The beauty of all this is you can also do this with an emulator. If you grab BizHawk, an emulator that is very prominent in the speedrun community, and the game's SRAM file, which you can download below, you can load this save up in BizHawk and you can mess around with it. Note that you do need a Super Mario World ROM, and that is not linked below. However, if you are curious about code injection into old SNES games, then check it out below if you are curious. Nintendo and Sega's 90s rivalry was extremely heated, and besides commercials, there really isn't too much evidence of this caught on film. Well, iRetroGamer's Tyler Esposito has uploaded some video that his father took while they were at Disney World in the 90s. At the time, in Epcot, Disney had the Innoventions section, and Sega set up a booth full of games and systems to entice players to come by. The exhibit was massive too. Esposito first visited with his family in 1994, encountering plenty of Sonic and Lion King on Genesis, Virtua Fighter in an arcade cab, and even the Sega Channel, which I myself had as a child on the Genesis. He returned 2 years later to witness Fighting Vipers and the 32X title Darkside, which was only ever released inside of Europe. So Nintendo's and Sega's 90s battle isn't really news, but a lot of these little memories of time long gone aren't around much anymore. These times in video game history are just that, history, and having them cataloged is a great way to preserve that said history. I guess if you could theme today's RSS episode, it would be about preserving history. Most people might laugh at that idea. Who freaking cares? But honestly, a lot of great information is lost to time because people didn't care. A lot of early films, for example, are lost to time because they weren't well kept. This video, along with many other small contributions, help keep that history alive for future generations. One day, Sega and Nintendo may not exist, and every bit of information and evidence as to what happened will help keep them alive for future generations. So I previously talked about Habitat and it being one of the first MMOs in history. Well, now Neo Habitat is upon us and is looking to revive that game in the modern era. Originally developed by Lucasfilms in 1985, Habitat originally ran on the Commodore 64 with the online service Quantum Link, which later became America Online. Neo Habitat is open source and available now on GitHub for anyone to contribute to the project, and you can load up the alpha level project right now with a little bit of setup. Even if you are not a coder, you can jump on into the game and test the various features of it. The GitHub page has the full list of instructions that you'll need to get started. Remember, this is a much older game, so it will be a bit obtuse in some areas. Who knows though? With enough time and dedication, we might be looking at Neo Habitat getting upgraded past its original concept and becoming much more than the game would ever have hoped to be, now all on modern internet and modern PCs. If you're interested in the grandfather of MMORPGs, then check out the project below. If you are a patron that pledged to be a part of our Patreon campaign and are watching this early, then thank you very much. For those of you who pledged at the producer level role, your names are now on screen. If you are interested in seeing your name as a part of RetroStyle Spotlight, the tutorials, and have it be inside of the Launchbox application, then head on over to our Patreon link in the description below. At just $2 a month, you can see content like RSS early, and at higher tiers, you start to unlock things like exclusive Discord server access, producer credits, and a personal hangout with the Launchbox team. Any dollar amount anyone pledges to our campaign is helping us create a better product, and we could not thank you enough. So that was RetroStyle Spotlight for the week of June 6th, 2017. All of the relevant links to everything you heard in this edition of RSS will be in the description below. Remember, you can sign up for a Launchbox forum account to interact with the community, moderators, and the Launchbox staff if you have any questions or would like to contribute to the project. If Launchbox has given you a beautiful library of games, then why not purchase a premium license of Launchbox for $20, which will get you big box and tons of premium-only features. If you enjoyed this episode of RSS, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe to get notified of new videos that we make. Let us know what you think of RSS and any feedback that you have on it in the comments below. My name is Brad, the link to my channel is also below, where I do lots of gaming content, and remember Fixing Geeks to play more games, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day!